Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast, a cricket podcast presented by Nazar Sayed, that is me, and my brother here, Bashar. If you're new to the podcast, then no, we do not always dress up in a tie and a professional attire to do this podcast. Some would say that the occasion today, being that Australia is close to being knocked out of this World Cup, might be one occasion to celebrate and dress up and commemorate the occasion. But that again is not the case. One of our team members in Share just got married. Shout out Saad, and we were just at his walima, so we just came back from his reception, and we're here to do a roundup because holy crap! Right now we have one of the most interesting games going on. A potential quarterfinal between West Indies and South Africa is being played right now as we speak. So we'll be following that as we do the podcast. Australia just got wiped out by Afghanistan. India itself is just making strides in this tournament. I think they're unbeaten. And England have made their way into the semifinals. A lot has happened since the last time Backward Point was with you guys. And as always, again, with me is Bashar Sayed to talk about all of it.
Some would say we were taking time off to recuperate from Pakistan being knocked out. Now, we did not anticipate Pakistan being knocked out of the group stages and not make it to the Super 8s. So a lot of our revenue streams are being damaged because of that. Believe it or not, when Pakistan does good or bad, the podcast gets views. And now that Pakistan is out, I wonder who's watching us.
It's the diehards. It's the people that want to know what's going on in the world of cricket. The cricket fans are watching us. The Pakistan cricket fans have tuned out. They are now watching football. They're watching FIFA. They're watching the Euros. But the ones who are watching right now, they just want to know exactly what is going on in the world of cricket. And I'm here for the roundup, man.
Ever since Backward Point became a thing, I've noticed that whenever we go to like a wedding, just at the mosque, everyone wants to start a conversation with cricket. What's happening with the captaincy? What's the inside news of the team? It's almost like when you meet a comedian and the first thing you say is, hey, tell me a joke.
So what's your go-to routine when it comes to Pakistan cricket?
Man, honestly, I think I give my opinions on this podcast. So if you want to hear what I want to say, gotta tune in.
Yeah.
But mostly, I think I'm out there absorbing what people are saying, just getting a feel of what the general public is feeling about the team. And I feel like a lot of the time people are blaming the players for a lot of what's going on. And they don't take into consideration what is going on with the management and the board. And that's typically what happens when seasonal fans only watch World Cups and they're like, who's Usman Khan? That happens frequently.
Just in a live update again, Rabada hit the last ball of the 15th or 16th over for 4. And South Africa needed 9 off of 7. Now they need 5 off of 6. And dang, this is turning out to be one of the belters. This tournament, Bashar, I think my overall review of the tournament is that it's been a wonderful tournament. I've had a great time watching the associate teams. I've had a great time watching these clashes. Some of the big teams are kind of out. So it was interesting to see these other teams that don't get as much spotlight as the West Indies, as South Africa, sort of make their way into the tournament. And with England already making a statement and being into the first team to be in the semis, this is going to be a very, very interesting little spell that we come out here. South Africa getting 5 off of 6. Potentially a quarterfinal. Whoever wins this makes it to the semis. And before we can get deep into what's going on, who the top 4 are, let's just take a small peek at what has been going on since the last time we talked. Pakistan and Ireland game happened. We talked about that. Ever since then, Bangladesh and Nepal happened, and Sri Lanka and Netherlands happened. Sri Lanka got knocked out, and then we went into the Super 8s. The Super 8s have been a very fun little endeavor. The group 1, not so much. United States of America, not really.
That's group 2.
Yeah, I know. But like, I'm just talking about in general, the Super 8s. The United States of America not really making a dent. And that group that they're in, the second group, like you mentioned, just a complete no-show for the US, as we expected.
How does that make you feel? Do you feel like if Pakistan had made it, would they have made a dent?
Oh my God, South Africa just hit a 6. Janssen just hit a 6. South Africa have made it through. South Africa have won. Sorry. Live reaction to what just happened. South Africa have now gone through into the semis as well. West Indies home team knocked out.
The reason why I'm sad is because my top 4 predictions was India, Australia, England, West Indies, and West Indies is out.
Australia might be out too.
Dang, I might be like 50%.
There we go. I'm already out. My prediction had West Indies, Pakistan in it. They both are out.
Terrible.
So, life of a podcaster.
Hey, you know whose prediction is pretty much on point?
Oh.
Brian Lara. Because Brian Lara said that Afghanistan is in his top 4 and people were laughing at him. But I think in hindsight now, looking at the conditions, Afghanistan probably had a pretty good team. I was not rating their batting as highly, but for Gurbaz and Ibrahim Zadran and all the other batters so to step up in this tournament, it's been delightful to watch.
So let's go then straight to the Afghanistan-Australia game that just happened yesterday for us. Afghanistan were able to hit 148 off the first innings with 6 wickets down. A beautiful, beautiful innings by Rahmanullah Gurbaz. Honestly, he's turning into one of my favorite batters to watch out for. He's consistent. He's easy on the eyes. He's a really solid opening start and one of the more intelligent batsmen in the Afghanistan team. I don't mean to disrespect anybody else, but I just think that a lot of these players come in, just try to hit the ball and go out. Rahmanullah Gurbaz actually takes his time on the crease, and his format, I think, is primarily ODIs. He just thrives there. The way he paces his innings, I think, for an ODI innings, it's wonderful. These wickets are also suiting him really well. I think where the par score is 150, 160, you can come in and take your time and play a 60 runs off 49 balls and get your team to a respectable total. Just because you have some of the best spinners in the world playing for Afghanistan, they have the backing to go like, oh yeah, a 140 to 150, 150, 60 even, we could probably defend that. And that was the case against the Australians. They totally, when they put 148 on the board, I felt like they were maybe 10 to 15 runs short, quoting my boy Babar there. But even though 140 was on the board, there was always a sniff. If they smelt blood, Afghanistan was going to go in and just demolish this because they had that hangover from the ODI World Cup in 2023 where they had the Australians 70 for 7 or 90 for 7, something like that. And then that freak innings by Maxwell totally ripped their entire spirits apart. And something similar was going on here with Maxwell again. Maxwell came out at number 4, and he hit 59 off 41, 6 4s and 3 6s. And for a second, he kind of put the game on one side. Then that free catch by Noor Ahmed, man, what a diving effort. Diving to his left, diving forward. It was just one of those things where Afghanistan just wanted it more, and you could tell. And I love that.
I wasn't following this game because after I had seen Afghanistan be demolished by India, I didn't think they had any chance of even competing with Australia. And there's something that happens when Afghanistan faces India where it seems like they've forgotten how to play cricket. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the stardom of these Indian players.
Yeah, they seem very ordinary when they're playing India.
Exactly. Whether it be Asia Cups, World Cups, T20 World Cups, they'd never turn up against India. I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint exactly why it's happening. So I thought they'd be demoralized from that win against India and be steamrolled through here by Australia. But I think in hindsight, looking at how Australia bowled pretty decently on this pitch, Afghanistan got a pretty decent total. It's how the Afghani bowlers utilized the pitch. They bowled cutters. The first over, the decision to give it to Naveen al-Haq instead of Fazal Haq Farooqi, who I think is the highest wicket taker of this World Cup.
Correct.
A lot of people were asking questions on Rashid Khan's captaincy. But we saw exactly how and why Naveen al-Haq was brought in. He was out swinging the ball away to Travis Head. He gets him out in the first over, and that Bumrah is how you get Travis Head out in a World Cup.
I think Afghanistan was totally in this game the entire time, and it was just fun to watch a team of Afghanistan's caliber, a team that we've been rating highly for a very long time. I think they have set the blueprint for associate nations to find the way of how to become a team that's basically a top level team now. They got test status pretty soon. They were a 6th or 5th division team in the mid 2000s, and Mohammad Nabi was the guy who's been through that entire run for Afghanistan, and iconically was the man who caught who did he catch out? The last ball, whoever that was. Zampa, I believe. Yes. He caught him out on the boundary lope on mid-on, finishes the deal for Afghanistan, basically wraps this entire era of Afghani cricket into a nice little bow and make sure that the people back home enjoy this win. This entire game was just complete joy for me. Just watching these guys like go at it, especially the Marcus Stoinis stint. I don't know if you noticed that. Marcus.
What was that send off?
So basically, Marcus Stoinis was pissed off. Sledging out Gurbaz. Gurbaz plays a dot. Marcus Stoinis sledges him off. Next ball 6. Like that. That is over. Yeah, he does get Marcus Stoinis does get Gurbaz out, but Gurbaz had already done his damage by then. He was 60 off 49 or 48 by the time. And yeah, sure, he got a good one, got out. Fine. But then Stoinis comes out to bat, and now Gurbaz is chirping from the keeping, bro. From behind the wickets. He's chirping, gets into Marcus Stoinis' head, and Stoinis gets out. And it was that kind of aggression, that kind of pressure, that kind of stick-to-itness that I was like, wow, this Afghanistan team they're really showing it. And that was the attitude and the aggression. They just wanted it more. And you could see the fire in everybody's eyes. You could see that. And I was happy to see someone stand up to the Aussies and like look them eye to eye. And not only like win this game, demolish them. 127 all out Australia. Gulbadin comes in, takes 4 for 20. Haha, 420 boys out there. And this completely puts the game on one side. He took a wicket, I believe, in every single over, I think. Yeah, every single over. Every time he was given the ball, he came out, took a wicket, and just put the game on one side. And also took a really crucial catch near the end of the innings. He was one of those guys that gave you an all-round performance. He had 13 dots in his spell of 4 overs. Only got hit for 1-4 and 1-6. It's a brilliant little nugget there.
Fast bowling is an art, and Gulbuddin is the Van Gogh. You guys know it.
We're getting the greatest hit plays right now of the Backward Point edition. The best part of this entire win, when Australia got knocked out, when Australia got demolished from Afghanistan, the best part was the schadenfreude that I experienced when I went and saw the Great Cricketer podcast. Oh, that was the best feeling I've had in a very long time. Just 27 minutes of Higgins and Peza just trying to make sense of this all. And, whenever like India loses or when Pakistan loses, a lot of Indian fans and Australian fans will come out and see what the Pakistan media is saying. Rarely does Australia give us a chance to go and witness what their independent podcasters are saying. And man, it was just a delight. Those tears, I want to put them in a vial and just nurture like plants with them because I feel like they're so powerful. Rarely do you get Aussie fans tearing up and losing their minds because of the way that Australians play cricket. And that for me was the win.
It's always the other way around. The Aussies are making everybody cry. And I think they've beaten some of the great teams of the past couple of decades, being Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka in finals. And the kind of tears that we had to shed because of that, this is karma.
Let's start counting, right? 2010.
99.
2010, 2012, 2015, 2019, where the catches were dropped. Now, these are both matches where catches were dropped. 2021. Like, you tell me where I should find remorse and find grace to the Australian team. There is none. Indian fans can relate to the same. Like, they're still not over 17th November 2023. Like, the Australian team is so good that it's so annoying. And the fact that the Afghans came and were like, we'll take revenge for all of our Pakistani brothers and sisters and Indian brothers and sisters. It's great. And now India has the chance to do the funniest thing of all time.
Take payback and knock Australia out.
Knock them out, guys. Do it. And this Indian team has the potential to do it. I have faith in these guys to actually come out and just completely obliterate these guys. Afghanistan needs to beat Bangladesh and India needs to beat Australia. Australia are knocked out. But that just opens the gates for India to secure this World Cup.
I think Afghanistan is the most improved team of the past decade, I would say. And the last 2 ICC tournaments, they finished higher than Pakistan. In the ODI World Cup, there was a scenario where they almost were qualifying for semis. Right now, also, there is an open chance for them to make it to the top 4. And I think that's exactly how you improve cricketers. A lot of credit to their management, their captaincy, the way Jonathan Trott is with the team. I saw lots of celebration videos post-match with DJ Bravo, who is their mentor.
He was so ecstatic, man, when they won.
They were singing the champion song with the champion himself.
Lovely to see that. And not only that, you could see how involved these foreign coaches were with this team. Like I could see on the sideline just Bravo telling the guys to calm down, relax. Rashid out there screaming. There was a no ball situation where they just only had three fielders inside the circle. Like these are moments where they're gonna learn from these mistakes, and Afghanistan is gonna come out to be a formidable side. I put them in my top four. I think they are the deserving team. I think they should go through. And we really haven't seen how Afghanistan performs in knockouts. Maybe they are knockout champs. Maybe they're the team that plays well under pressure. We don't know. But I think it's time for new teams to come up into the top four and secure their place. That's why I'm so glad that South Africa went through to the top four. They deserve it. They've been unbeaten this entire tournament. And same thing with Afghanistan. Even though they've had a few bad games, they've really come on top. This Australia win is going to put them on the map. If people haven't noticed, start noticing, guys.
I'm loving this format of this World Cup. If you're not good enough, you don't make it to the Super 8s. And if you're not good enough on the day, you will not make it to the top four. And I feel like this World Cup has gained so much popularity for cricket,
Yeah,
especially in North America. I was just at my barber a few days ago, and obviously people know I have a podcast on cricket. And aside from that, I could hear people talk about the fact that USA beat Pakistan, the magnitude of that news, and how much it vibrated through the North American circles. Like people who don't even follow sports know that USA beat Pakistan, and their first reaction is USA has team. We had no idea. So loving the format. I think have more teams involved, keep this format, and the better teams have to go through. England were at a stage where they were getting knocked out of the group stages, and now they're the first team to make the top four. So things are going good.
Yeah, I think the follow up is going to be really interesting in the next 24 to 48 hours. We have an India Australia game. We have an Afghanistan Bangladesh game that will seal the deal for the top four players. Right now, South Africa, England have made it through. South Africa again unbeaten. England lost one, um, and West Indies are out of the tournament, including the US of A. It's going to be a really interesting run. Let's talk about India.
Let's do. I think this is probably a conversation to have post podcast, but let's do backward point daily from now on till the final.
Sure.
So we'll do a pod tonight. We'll do a pod tomorrow after the India Australia match.
Sure.
Afghanistan Bangladesh match, because we will know who's in the top four, and we'll do a roundup of the top four. Then.
Let's talk about India a little bit. India also unbeaten in this tournament. They have yet to lose a single game. They won 3 out of the 4 in their group stages. They've won 2 out of 2 into the Super 8s. They have one game tomorrow against Australia. A defeated, beaten, downtrodden Australia and a mighty, strong, and extremely inspired Indian team will be facing against each other. What do you think about this campaign that India has run?
I think this is an extremely balanced Indian side. And I say this because the likes of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma haven't really stepped up to what their standards have been in the past. And the fact that those two cannot perform to the best of their abilities, and India can still notch up scores of 196, of 180 plus, that shows that they have a functional and working middle order and lower middle order. The fact that Hardik Pandya is probably top 3 Indian all-rounders of all time, the way this man has evolved his game is absolutely ridiculous. I was just watching his batting in the last 2 matches, and I have no choice but to have a Pakistani POV on this whenever I'm watching any game, any team play.
Of course.
And I was just watching Hardik Pandya's shot ranges. Extra cover, long off, long on, mid wicket, square leg, third man. Our batters are one-dimensional. We only hit mid wicket, long on. That's all we have. So Hardik Pandya hits sixes where the ball is bowled.
Yeah.
And he has that shot range. He's a pretty skinny guy, but he hits humongous sixes.
It's the power of the wrist.
That plus his bowling, like his bowling is, we don't talk about how great his bowling is. He's the consistent wicket taker for India in the middle overs. And oftentimes that gets underappreciated. And I was watching his post-match interview after the game against Bangladesh, and his mentality is what shocked me. He said, I don't care about the wickets I take or the runs I score. I don't even consider how many wickets I took or how many runs I score. It's all about how much I can contribute on the day in the situation for the team. It's all about the team winning. And I feel like a lot of Pakistani guys are struck with playing for individual milestones and personal point scoring.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a big disparity between Indian cricket and Pakistan cricket, but that's where we need to really improve. And that has to come with players being backed, players being given the security, because the kind of injury that Hardik Pandya had in the 2018 Asia Cup, most players would never be able to make a comeback. Hardik Pandya did come back. He played as a batsman. He played then as an all-rounder. And that's when he gives India the balance that they need. Pakistan is really behind because we don't have a good fast bowling all-rounder. I wouldn't even call Hardik Pandya a fast bowling all-rounder. I would call him a proper all-rounder at this moment because he bats number 6 or 5. He's a finisher. He bowls 4 proper overs. He's got a deadly bouncer. And that's, I think, where India have gotten things right.
Now, I don't believe Hardik Pandya 100% when he says I don't check my scores and stats. Come on, that stuff is like just innate when you become a cricketer. But I follow what you're saying. I agree with you to a certain extent that Hardik Pandya is the cheat code for India. Let me tell you India's scores in this World Cup. Ready? India won by 8 wickets against Ireland. India won by 6 runs against Pakistan. India won by 7 wickets against the US. And then the Canada game was abandoned, so they went through into the Super 8s. They won by 47 runs against Afghanistan and 50 runs against Bangladesh.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Every team has a bad game in the World Cup, and India has gotten unbeaten so far. A bad game is overdue. It could be this game against Australia. It could be a semifinal or a final. It's up to them. Last time their bad day was the final against Australia, and that's not a good time to have a bad game.
Can they not have a perfect tournament?
Well, you're not the Aussies of the 2000s.
I mean, the Aussies of the 2000s are no longer there, and the Aussies of 2024 are on the verge of being eliminated.
I believe in the law of averages.
Okay. So you think that there is a bad game on the cards?
Australia had a bad game against
Don't you think
Afghanistan.
the bad game already kind of happened with Pakistan?
That was a good game. I
That
think
was a pretty
that was
bad
a
game for India.
No, I think according to the pitch, 120 was an above par score.
Okay.
And the way they bowled, they pulled the game back. So, I mean, what is bad about that?
I would say that they could have probably, a lot of the way that their batters got out was just they hit out. If they had played a little bit more sensibly, they might have even gone to 130, 135. And they sort of, Pakistan kind of were in the game up until the 13th over. 47 or 47 was what was required. And they were having a horrible game up until that point. So my argument is that maybe their bad game has already happened and Pakistan just was not able to capitalize on their bad game. And India seized the day with coming in clinically near the end. And now, because they sort of learned through that mistakes, but they got the W at the end, that bad game sort of gets washed out into the win, and they make it through. Ever since that game, they've been clinical. They beat Bangladesh by 50 and Afghanistan by 47.
So I disagree. I think that game against Pakistan gave India the confidence that they can come back from any position and win the match. Like that's how strong Rohit Sharma is tactically. Okay. And that's how good his players are to back his decisions. Like the way that Akshar Patel is playing this tournament, the way he's bowling wicked. He's bowling made no words in a power play. And we have to talk about how well Jasprit Bumrah is bowling. I've been following him for a long time. I'm talking before his debut for India. He took 5 wickets in this Mushtaq Ali Sayyid tournament. And that's when he first caught my eye as a bowler. I was like, this guy has an awkward action. He bowls quick. He can swing the ball. If he worked on his fitness, he could increase his pace and be an asset for India. And the way India has managed Bumrah over the years, that to me is commendable. He's had a couple of really bad injuries, but every time he comes back from an injury, he looks better than he was before injury. That shows how much backing India has for Bumrah. Like I heard Rahman Reis on the podcast with Islamabad United. He told us that when a player in India, like for example, Bumrah gets injured, he has the security that he's going to go back into rehab, do his rehab training, and he knows once he's fed, he's starting in the playing 11 for India. Our guys, when they get injured, they're like, when's my next paycheck coming? Where is it coming from? How am I going to get recovered quick as possible so I can go play the T10 or the BPL or the PSL? So I think now, like Jasprit Bumrah is probably the best all format, best all conditions fast bowler. After seeing him bowl here, after seeing him bowl in Australia, in the UK, South Africa, he knows how to extract the best out of each pitch, each condition, and he's just been difficult to put away. The variations he has, the lengths that he's bowling, the pace that he has. At this point, he is skillful and he is extremely smart.
There a lot of cricket fans are a little bit upset about the way that you tweeted that you said that Bumrah might be the greatest all-format, all-round bowler in cricket, and a lot of people were pissed off at that. And then after the last game, I corrected that and said he is the best all-format, all conditions bowler in the world. Bumrah is the king of bowling right now. There is no other person even close to his stats. Even you can check him in the IPL.
Pat Cummins, maybe?
No, he like even in the IPL, he's been insane. I think his economy was like 6 something in the IPL this year.
7-8.
Something
Which is still great.
outrageously low. Outrageously low. Every single game that I had the privilege to watch, he was bowling economically.
His economy was an outlier.
24 to 30 was the range that he would give the runs off when he's 4, and he would take a couple wickets as well. So I mean, he's just the cheat code. Him and Pandya are a cheat code. And then we haven't even discussed the biggest cheat code of all, which is Sir Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli is having a very interesting tournament so far. Here are his scores for this entire World Cup that he's played. Ireland 1, Pakistan 4, USA 0, Afghanistan 24, and Bangladesh 37. Thoughts?
Well, the runs are increasing every match.
They are.
24, 37, maybe next match he scores his first 50.
Okay.
But I think Virat Kohli's role has changed in the team now. Like, he's playing as an opener, and the way Rohit Sharma's mentality works, they want to maximize the power play. The first ball he faced against Bangladesh chipped over mid-off for a double. So he doesn't care if it's the first ball or the last ball, they're going after it. But I think there needs to be a bit of a controlled aggression. I felt like the way Virat Kohli played in the US was a little rash considering the conditions were alien. They were not batting friendly conditions. And maybe that's when, maybe if he had played at number 3, or maybe if he just taken his time on the pitch to get used to the conditions, he could have scored bigger runs. But the fact that him being the player of his stature is putting his personal milestones and his accomplishments aside and being like, okay, what does the team need from me right now? The team needs me to open. The team needs me to play attacking cricket. That's what I'll do regardless of the results.
Virat Kohli, aged 35 years, 232 days. That does not look like the guy who looks like he's almost 36. I look like I'm almost 36.
Still fielding at the boundary, rocket throws, getting balls underneath the stages.
Oh yes, what a champion player, man! Like I said, I'm 27. I look like I'm 36, and he's 36, and he looks like he's 27. And that just goes to the dedication and the love for the sport that he has. Virat Kohli, one of the greats that we have. It'll be a shame to see him go away. This could be his last T20 World Cup. We don't know. Maybe he'll play another one in 2026. Maybe we saw him already in the last ODI World Cup as his last ODI World Cup. And, it's times like these where you think about these things and you get a little bit sad because greatest of all time might walk away in the next few years, and you got to cope with that.
One of my friends drove here from Toronto to New York to watch 2 games, Canada versus Pakistan, and then India versus USA. And one of his goals was to watch Virat Kohli bat. Well, he got to see him bat, but he got it for a golden duck.
Yeah. Tough one. I want to talk a little bit about Rohit Sharma too, and then we want to talk about South Africa before we wrap it up. Rohit Sharma's World Cup has been very interesting as a captain, very successful. He hasn't lost a single game. But batting-wise, again, the opening stand for India has been a bit shaky. He has 150, not out, against Ireland, and then 13 against Pakistan, 3 against the US, 8 against Afghanistan, and 23 against Bangladesh. And this has been sort of the problematic. I wouldn't entirely say problematic, but it's a very interesting little case study. India's opening has not really given them the stand that they would want. They're not getting 60 off 6 with 1 down or whatever. They're really trudging their way through. A lot has to be said about the pitches. 3 of their last 5 games were in New York. Even Bridgetown and North Sound were not really high scoring grounds or high scoring pitches. They're doing the best that they can in that environment. I respect that. But let's go with your law of averages theory. There has to be a big innings coming from either Rohit or Virat in the next couple of games. There has to be. The next game is against Australia. Even if they lose that, they're still kind of through. Unless like some something really radical happens where Afghanistan beats Bangladesh by like 110 runs or something. Um, apart from that like freak incident happening, they're kind of through into the semis. They have two more games, two very important games. If they beat Australia tomorrow, they knock them out. Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli can play a very systematic role of doing that. If they stand their ground, give them a good start, and India finish with a high total if they bat first, it's over for Australia. They don't have the capacity to chase anything over 160, 170. That's my opinion. But, when is that game going to come where Rohit and Virat Kohli are going to perform? It has to happen, right?
I think after India lost by 10 wickets to England in the T20 World Cup semi-final, the Indian team mentality has changed. Rohit Sharma has been the aggressor. Like he was the aggressor, but he's sort of the over-aggressor now. So I think you would prefer an 18 ball 30 versus a 40 ball 60. So even if it means that he doesn't have that big innings as per se, he would rather take impact innings. And the problem also is that I think India has to keep this opening pair till the end of the World Cup because if they drop Virat Kohli to one down, that means the whole batting order has to change, right? Rishabh Pant then has to go number 5. India may need to drop Shivam Dubey. Sky stays at number 4, and Pandya stays at number 6. So they're sort of stuck in a position where, like, who do they even bring as a new opener? Like, because they played Sanju Samson in the warm-up match, he got a pretty bad score, and they haven't given Jaiswal a chance. It's funny because Jaiswal was our player to watch out for India.
No, it hasn't got a single game yet.
Yeah, him and then Chahal. We were like, Chahal is going to be pretty good.
Hasn't got a single game.
Hasn't got a single game.
So very interesting little combination they have going on. Rohit Sharma, aged 37 years and 55 days.
The way you say aged, it's like he's aged recently.
Aged 37 years recently. That's very true.
His current age is 37.
He's aged 37 years and 55 days. Both are correct. But it's crazy to me that India's top order, his average age is 36. There's something to be said about that.
Experience.
Hey,
well, CSK has always been going for experienced players with MS Dhoni. I think one of the years they won, they probably had like the highest average age of any team in the IPL. That just shows experience matters.
You think this is India's tournament?
Well, we say every tournament is India's tournament. The last tournament, we said India's favorites. The one before that, we said India's unbeatable. But here we are again, India in a knockout tournament. I was at my local gym in the hot tub, and I just overheard this Guyanese fella and this Indian fella talking about the World Cup. And the Indian guy was like, yeah, Pakistan is knocked out, man. And then the Guyanese guy was like, oh, really? Yeah. So how's India doing? He's like, yeah, man, India this time will win. And I said, yeah, India might go to the finals, but if it's Australia in the finals, they will lose. And he's like, no, man, this time is different. And I'm like, you see that every time, bro. Like the last World Cup, you guys were like, this is India's World Cup. The one before that, it's India's World Cup. It is your World Cup until you meet Australia in the knockouts.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. That's why it's very important for India to knock out Australia out.
Somebody has to break the jinx, and India needs to win a trophy. They have to do it. How is it that Sri Lanka, Pakistan have ICC trophies in the past 10 years and India has none?
That's very true. I mean, it's a very fair argument to make. Like, I know a lot of our Indian fans get really worked up with the fact that Pakistan sucks and this or that, but Pakistan does suck. Pakistan has won something in the past 8 years, though.
But they also suck. But like we're talking about India at this point.
Yeah, but like that's the counter argument, right? The argument is, hey, Pakistan sucks, so you guys are always knocked out, so whatever. And then my counter argument is, but 2017 Champions Trophy, we kind of have that. What do you guys have? 2013 Champions Trophy. That's like so long ago. But even the 2017 Champions Trophy final is sort of starting to weigh heavy now. It's been a while. It's been almost 8 years. And Pakistan needs to do something, man. They have a Champions Trophy again next year at home where they're defending champions. I don't know what's going to happen then, but this, I think, is the closest that India will be to win this. If they knock out Australia, by the time this podcast comes out, the people already know what happened with that. And if they have knocked out Australia, then it's India's to win. Like, they have South Africa and England in the knockouts with them. Either they're going to play South Africa or England. I don't know who it might be. If it's South Africa, then I'm presuming they make it through to the finals. And if it's England, Afghanistan, then I'm thinking it's going to be an India-England final. And if that's the case, then I'll put my money on India to pull it through.
The ideal scenario is India beats Australia tomorrow.
Yep.
Australia is knocked out. So that's like one of the big hurdles in India
Yes.
winning a trophy. Australia in front of them, right? Australia is out. Afghanistan and India go through. England and South Africa over there. And I guess it depends. If India beat Australia, number 2 is England in that group, right? Or if I
Yes.
just refresh the table.
Aren't like the semifinals even decided or no?
Yeah. So
At this point, everything
so
is decided for
England
India.
is number 2. So India will face England in the semis. If India beat Australia and Afghanistan is going through in that table, because India will be number 1 and
Afghanistan.
England is number 2 in the group 2. So it's 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
Interesting. England is playing dominating cricket. They smashed USA. They dominated against West Indies. I think this is going to be a tough match. It might be a repeat of the last T20 World Cup where India faced England. And I think England's opening pair right now is so destructive. I get nightmares of watching them. England right now is my favorite white ball team just because of the style that they play the cricket in. Attacking cricket, regardless of what happens in the match, they continue to attack. And they only have their openers fixed. Everybody else is according to the matchups, is according to situations. They can send Moeen Ali up as a lefty. They can send Livingston, Brooke, whatever. They're ready for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting little countdown there. Let's talk quickly about South Africa, another team that's been unbeaten in this World Cup. If I really want one team to win, it's South Africa. We were at the Valima today at the reception of our friend, and there were a lot of people watching today's game, the West Indies South Africa game. And a lot of people wanted West Indies to go through, but in my heart, I'm like, West Indies already has 2 stars on their chest. South Africa has none. We saw a whole generation of South Africans who were basically the likes of Dale Steyn, the likes of Jacques Kallis, Graeme Smith, Herschel Gibbs, AB de Villiers, and like who else? Like
Gibbs,
Sean Pollock,
Graeme
Smith,
and Teeny.
Like you name them, right? Alan Donald, like all these guys,
Trophyless.
And I think that this might be a good start for them. I honestly want to see a new champion. It was very nice, refreshing to see Sri Lanka win something. Very refreshing to see West Indies win it twice. And I think it's time for South Africa to pull it through. I'm rooting for them. And this is dangerous for South Africa because I'm rooting for them. And every team we've rooted for, as the history shows of this podcast, has either gotten knocked out or just in complete shambles. But rooting for South Africa to make it through at least to the finals. They've never played a final. It's been a very, very long time, and they're a really good team.
Imagine a conversation between AB de Villiers and Ahmed Shahzad. And Ahmed Shahzad says to AB de Villiers, what colors are your T20 World Cup trophy and your Champions Trophy? Because Ahmed Shahzad has 2 trophies for Pakistan. AB de Villiers has none.
Was Ahmed Shahzad in the 2009 World Cup?
He was. He's never playing, but he's always the first one to grab the trophy.
Yeah, it's tough. Ahmed Shahzad single-handedly won Pakistan the Champions Trophy by being knocked out and being sat out, and Fakhar Zaman playing him in his place.
This is what I said at the wedding 2 days ago. I said, Ahmed Shahzad's biggest contribution to Pakistan cricket is when he did not perform in the 2017 Champions Trophy. And that let Fakhar Zaman open the innings, and then we were undefeated the whole tournament.
Yes.
That Ahmed Shahzad is your biggest contribution to Pakistan. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your contributions for the men in green. Yeah, I just want South Africa to pull this one through. I hope they've gone through into the semis. I think they're a very deserving team. They're a very balanced team. I want Ngidi to win something. I want Norkia to win something. I want my boy Irfan Janeja lookalike Aiden Markram to win something. I think he's a very cool captain. The way that they just pull these games. I know they've been winning really close. That's why they had a little bit of a run rate scare there. But they're clinical. They're outperforming their opponents, and they deserve to win the semis. I think they should play the finals.
Let's see what happens. Maybe if we have an opportunity, we can stream one of the games, one of the semis that's in the evenings.
I say we stream the final, but you're going for camping.
I am. I'm going to be away for the final. Just total disconnect, detox. Just me, the forest, the woods, and hopefully no bears.
Is this a retreat for the Pakistan cleanse that you need?
It is. I just need a break from cricket, playing, watching, podcasting.
I'm all there for you. I hope you have a good time. That means, guys, that when the final happens, it will be a solo podcast. Our first Backward Point Solo Podcast is going to be just me. So all the Bashar stands will have to tune in and suffer through me monologuing for 40 minutes.
Are you going to do the pod without me?
Yeah, solo pod.
Is that even a pod?
That's a pod. That's a back.
Like, what are you going to say? With me today is my brother and, oh, wait.
That was exactly my opening line, but thank you for ruining it. I was going to play.
Spoilers.
I was going to play on that, but it's going to be a fun little thing. Bashar is going to be out for that weekend. So it might, even the semifinal, like, are you going to be there for the semifinal pod? It's on Thursday.
I'm going away on Friday.
You're going away on Friday. So we're going to probably, it's semifinals on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. We could probably wrap that pod away. And then the final. Guys, it's just you and me at this point. It's going to be a great one. I'm going to be wearing the Pakistan jersey to piss everybody off. And we're going to talk about the final of the T20 World Cup.
That Thursday semifinal is not sitting right with me. Because how is India the only team who knows beforehand if they qualify for semis, they'll play in Guyana at 10:30 a.m.? Like, in what sport, in what tournament does that ever happen? That one team knows if they play the semifinals, it'll be at this ground at this time. So you can plan your team, your strategies accordingly. This is totally unfair. It's unethical, and it should not happen in any world sports tournament.
Yeah, I wonder what our India fans have to say about that. If you're an Indian fan, if you've gotten this far and you have thoughts and opinions on that, let us know. Right? I think that's it for us. Managed to do 42 minutes. Just a quick roundup of the World Cup. These were the games that we saw. So happy that the great cricketer is in shambles and crying and heartbroken. That makes me happy. I don't know about you guys. They did a whole 1 minute segment where they laughed for 30 seconds when Pakistan was potentially knocked out again by the USA. That was the first game that Pakistan played. I mean, kudos to them. That was great podcasting. Honestly, we even give a 30-second silent treatment in the start of that podcast. But life gives you moments where you can come out, and the Schadenfreude was just so good, man. I can't even do that. Like, thank you, Afghanistan, for giving me that moment where I'm just gonna go back and listen to that podcast on loop as I fall asleep and just listen to Higgins just going crazy about how they have no claws and something about rabies. I don't even know. South Africa sort of pulled out as the lucky charmers for me. I think they're gonna make it through to the finals. I hope.
When's the last time they played a final?
Never. They've never played a final. I believe they've never played a final. Semifinals in '99, they got knocked out. They've never played 2003.
Semis in 07 as well. Right?
Semis, 2003 finalists were India, Sri Lanka. No, Australia,
India, Kenya, and one more team.
So one more team, yes. 2007 was so 2003 was Australia, India. 2007 was Sri Lanka, Australia, I believe. The finalists.
Yeah, finalists, yes.
Right? And then the 2007 T20 World Cup was India, Pakistan. 2009 T20 World Cup was Sri Lanka, Pakistan. 10 was
England, Australia.
11 was
India, Sri
Lanka. So yeah, 12 was
West Indies, Sri Lanka.
There we go. 14 was Sri Lanka, India. 16 was West Indies, England.
15 was ODI World Cup, was Australia and New Zealand.
Yep. Same thing. And 16 was Sri Lanka. No, West Indies, England. 17 Champions Trophy was Pakistan, India. Yeah, they've never. 19 was England, New Zealand. Yeah, they've never made it to the finals. And so that's why I think this is the opportunity for them to go through. I hope they make it through. That's my closing remarks on that.
Hey, what if Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan final? Oh, sorry. South Africa versus Afghanistan final. We'll have a new winner to the World Cup.
That'll be crazy. But then that'll just be like, I don't think I'll stop laughing for 20 minutes because the Indians will be knocked out again.
Who's going to choke first?
There we go. If India, South Africa play the semifinals, that's the semifinals of the chokers. Like, who wants to throw this game faster, harder? Let's see it.
I'm down for it.
Guys, thank you guys for tuning in. By the time this podcast is out, I'm thinking that the Australia-India game will be done. So if you guys already know if you're in the future, let us know what happens. We're going to be coming back tomorrow with a review of the last two games. We'll have our finalists or semifinalists locked in. We'll give a quick roundup of that, talk about that. And then we got the semifinals coming in, guys. Wednesday, 26th June at 8:30 p.m. local time, Canada. And then 27th June on Thursday, 10:30 a.m. local time, Canada. And the final is going to be on Saturday when Bashar is going to be staring at the skies and hoping no bears come and eat him.
If you want Backward Point to show up at your wedding, please contact us.
Yes, We're booking weddings.
We may not charge an appearance fees, but
No, we will.
There will be free food
What are
involved.
you talking about? We charge appearance fees for weddings, 100%. We'll do a podcast on the stage with the groom, and we'll talk about why Black Sun sucks. We'll do that for you guys. In the meantime, go check out the socials, like and subscribe, and all that stuff. Thank you very much for indulging us. We were, we came straight from the reception, sat down, knocked it out of the park. Gonna go home. Gonna go into our respective rooms and relax now. My brain is fried. So much dancing.
How are you going to ignore the fact that Babar Azam is coming to Canada next month? People want to know, is he coming on the pod or what? Is BA x BP happening?
We can't talk about that. We can't talk about that.
We gotta see it, find out.
Hopefully. The term we like to use is inshallah. We don't know if it'll happen. We're in talks with a lot of different people. Hopefully it happens. We'd love to have Babar on the podcast. He's one of the dream guests. I think there's 3 dream guests for me on this podcast. Babar Azam, Virat Kohli, and Shahid Afridi. What about you?
Babar Azam, Shoaib Akhtar, Wasim Akram.
No Kohli? You don't want to talk to Kohli?
I think Kohli is really far-fetched. Like,
But
he's really far-fetched.
That's the whole idea of the dream guest, Bashar.
Like, he's beyond my dreams.
Okay. Well, he's still in my dreams.
He's dream layer number 3, Inception. He's a dream within a dream within a dream. VK.
Thank you guys for tuning into this edition of Backward Point Podcast. Please follow and like and everything. Check the descriptions for the Patreon. Join up. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Cheers.